that area. Make sure you bounce the club off your neck or off your back, and you know then you've accelerated through the ball. Try it, I'm sure you'll like it. Well, here we are. Here's the meat of the subject, a tee shot. How are we going to get those extra yards? Well, I'm going to give you a couple of tips how to do it. Well, if there's any shot that good players or poor players want to know about is a tee shot, Nick. They want to know how to hit it long and straight, because certainly this shot sets you up for your round more than anything else.
Well, first of all, just take care of that driver. It's been awful good to me the last 2 years, huh?
Oops, sorry. I haven't got any spikes.
I can see that.
Well, I think the big thing that I see with players setting up to the ball with a driver, a good example is somebody goes up and hits balls for an hour and a half, and they probably hit maybe wedges through, 5-iron, say, and then they get starting to practice with their driver, and they set up in the same way. So the fact of the matter is you've got to learn to set up differently with the driver. Your weight pretty even, and you've got everything level here. In other words, you're not tucked in behind it enough. It's very difficult to really get behind the ball, because a lot of players I see who set up to it very much in a similar way to an iron, they tend to swing it back here and never get behind the ball, and they hang on their left side in a reverse pivot situation. So they're really using a lot of arms in order to propel the golf ball, or to propel the golf club in actual fact. So the key being, I think, is it all in the setup, learning to set up to it where you've got the ball forward, a little wider stance, a little bit more weight back on the right side, and if anything, the hand slightly behind the ball, because this enables you then to really wind up and get behind it. And also, I think a lot of people are worried about trying to keep their head too still on this shot. Because certainly if you watch every great player, for the most part, especially with the driver, there's going to be a little bit of head movement off the ball to really get back into the right side. So that enables you then to really give the ball a good hit up the back of the ball, staying behind it. And remember, with the driver, we're trying to sweep it, aren't we, and hit on the upswing.
One of the things that I've always liked about the driver, David, is it's the only club in the bag that you can put the ball in the tee. It's always clean ball, you got it on a tee, and it's always on a flat surface. So of all the clubs in your bag, this one should be the easiest one to become consistent with.
Yeah, that's right, in theory. So come on, let's go ahead and do it. Okay. I know you're a great driver of the ball, so show them how it's done.
Well, as you said, what I like to have is a little bit of my weight on the back foot. So I'm at about 60-40 here, even 55-45, but a little more weight on the right foot. And you can see, instead of having my hands in front of the ball like I would with an iron, or right above the ball, I might even have them slightly behind the ball here. You can see that my spine is just angled slightly off the vertical.
So and to the right, correct?
To the right, and that my shoulder tilt might be just a little more than I would have with my irons.
Okay.
And that's going to encourage me, when I get into the hitting position, to hit right at the back of the ball, almost on the upswing.
Okay, right. So you really feel like you get behind it when you're driving well, don't you?
Always feel like as you said earlier, I'm probably 2 or 3 inches behind the ball, or have moved off the ball. I feel like 2 or 3 inches, right, which will help me to get that full turn.
Right, so I mean, the whole key is to getting all that weight back into the right side.
All right, see if we can do one here.
Okay.
So a little more weight on the right side.
I think one of the things when a player gets a driver in their hands, they tend to create a lot of tension there, because they feel they should hit it hard. I mean, the key, certainly you do want to hit it hard, but you want to get behind it and trust your mechanics to create the club head speed, correct?
Right, you never want to hold the club too firmly, although it might appear at times that I hold the club really hard. My waggle looks a little hard, and that I actually have enough flexibility in my wrists to let the club set at the top of the swing.
Yeah, so you grip it fairly softly.
There's a good one.
Oh, that's great.
And again, I got a good balance here. Final, always a good sign.